friends, welcome once again to my channel Localhost. So today the topic is we are going to learn how to connect the database, and as we are learning the Mern stack development, so the database we are going to use is MongoDB. So I have explained this whole process in just three simple steps. The last one is like formal one. So the very first step is we need to create a account on MongoDB. The second is using the link in our backend code, which will help to connect our backend with Mongoose. And the later on third stage, we will create a schema which will define our database, that what entries or what information we are going to save on our database. And by this, we are done to create our database. So let's go to our browser and open MongoDB and create a account on MongoDB. Okay. So this is my MongoDB. This is our MongoDB website, and yeah, I am actually logged in here. So I'm going to create a new project. Uh, so yeah, my project name is localhost.1. So yeah, I am project owner and creating the project. So it will take a while. So yeah, looks fine. Here we will go to create a deployment, and here we will choose the free plan where we got 512 MB of space, and yeah, keep the region to Virginia, don't change it, and click just create. So I got a captcha. Select all squares with traffic light. Oh, sorry for the disturbance. So yeah, you can see that I have generated this uh, username and password. You can click this auto generate button to regenerate this password. So I will hide this for now and auto regenerate the password again. Okay, and now I can copy the password and keep it for later reference. And now we will click on create user, so that uh, yeah, my user id and password is created. Now I need to add the IP address. So add my IP address. Actually, it's already added. So just finish and close and go to overview. So yeah, from here you got a connect option. Click it. Uh, Here are the drivers information that you need to install MongoDB to use it. So here here is the part where we got the link to paste in our backend to connect the MongoDB with our backend API. So we will copy this link. So let's go to our backend website where we are going to append these things. Okay, so yeah, this is our file. So here we are going to write the Mongoose connection code. So yeah, let me explain you. The first thing we have to do is we have to create a variable named mongoose. Okay, here we need to require the here we need to require mongoose. Okay, so yeah, actually I have not installed the library of mongoose. So go to your terminal and come to the backend folders. Okay, So cd codes and cd backend, then come to, sorry, then write command npm install mongoose. Yeah, you can see that mongoose is got installed in your node modules files soon. So now you can require your mongoose here after installation. So basically what we are going to do is we will run a basic query of mongoose, and we will use that query to save some information in our database. So yeah, till now mongoose is added, you can see here. So now I'm requiring mongoose. Yeah, you can see here is mongoose, which is installed, or I have required mongoose in my API. Now define a variable named url, and here you can paste that link, but I need to connect my username and password here. So I will first paste my password, which I will replace in that link. Okay, so I'm mm, going to here project folder of mongodb, and just copy this link and paste it here. Sorry, in single quotes. Yeah, and just replace this password with this password. When you will create your id, then you will get this password. Okay, so okay, and remove this for now. Okay, so yeah, we are done with two parts. First we have required mongoose, and on the second line we have defined a url which contains our information, that on which place or on which location of our account the informations are going to be saved. So now we have to define the schema. Okay, as I have described you, that first you need to create an account on MongoDB. Then you need to use that link in our backend code, and we have used that link here. Now in the third part, we have to just create a schema. So yes, just define schema const. Let's assume its name is user schema. Okay. Uh, so we are going to use the camel case version. So it's just a method of writing variable names where first letter is small and the remaining all letters are capital. Okay, I think you all are aware of it, of this camel case convention. So we have declared this user schema. Now we will use a simple query that is new mongoose dot schema. This is used to define the schema, that how our information is going to look. So for now, my schema contains a name. Okay, and name is of string type. So I'm going to write its type as string, and required is true for this entity. Okay, so the second parameter I'm going to give is email. So this is the second information of my user, that is email. So it's also of string type. Sorry, this is type of string, and it's also required entity. Required is true for this entity as well. So Don't complicate for now. Just we have two things or two fields in our schema, that are name and email, and we are going to save this name and email in our backend, or you can say in our database, using this code. Okay, so I have defined this user model. Now we need to save this model. Okay, so just write const, let's name it user model. Okay, I named it user model, and as we are using camel case convention, so capital M. So now we are going to define it as mongoose.model, and we will pass two parameters to this. The first one is the name with which we are going to save our database, so keep it users. And the second is the schema, and the schema is this user schema. Okay, so just copy it and paste it here. So yeah, from this code we are going to create a user model in our mongodb database account. Okay, so now what we need to do is just add a demo or dummy information using this code, so that we can verify that our code is running fine or not. So now we have just created our schema, and now we are going to write the code to connect our mongoose, or connect our API with mongoose. Okay, so we are going to write the code to connect with mongoose. Okay, so we have one query called mongoose.connect. So it will take the URL which we have created here, URL, or let's write it as database URL. Okay, just copy it, Control C. So this mongoose connect method will take this URL, and it will use a parser URL. Okay, use new URL parser. It will be capital here. Okay, and it needs to be true. And the second is use unified, and this is also needs to be true. So this is sufficient. So now we are going to, this is a promise function, so it will return a promise 10. So if this connection is secured, then it will return an promise. So we will invoke a array function in this. So here we will give instruction that on our console that our database is connected fine. So we can write is connected to our local local host point one database. Okay, so yeah, now from this we are done with the connection part, but I want to check whether this I want to check that a dummy information is saved or not on my database. So I'm going to create a dummy information, and gonna check that it is saving or not. Okay, so I'm just creating a field of information. Okay, so yeah, we are going to create information to be saved. So we have user 1, and this is actually a new user model, and we have two fields for our model. Suppose name, we are going to save the name as localhost, and the second thing is we are going to save its email. So yeah, we have passed the name as localhost and the second parameter is email. So suppose the email is localhost 123@gmail.com. We are going to save this information as a dummy one, and we are going to verify that whether our module is working fine or not. So in the next step, we are going to save this user one. So for that, we are going to run a query that is user one dot save. It's also a promise type of function, so it will return a promise if this line of code executes fine. So suppose we got a data object from the response, then we will print this data in our console. Okay, so we will invoke an array function again. Just write console.log data. From this line of code, we are going to get the data on our console and we can verify whether our data is saved successfully or not. So, so yeah, we have passed the name as localhost and the second parameter is email. So suppose the email is localhost 123@gmail.com. We are going to save this information as a dummy one, and we are going to verify that whether our module is working fine or not. So in the next step, we are going to save this user one. So for that, we are going to run a query that is user one dot save. It's also a promise type of function, so it will return a promise if this line of code executes fine. So suppose we got a data object from the response, then we will print this data in our console. Okay, so we will invoke an array function again. Just write console.log data. From this line of code, we are going to get the data on our console and we can verify whether our data is saved successfully or not. So let's check uh, whether this is running fine or not. And one more thing, let's check whether we are getting some error or not. So we will use catch block and we will get error in our response and console the error as well. Okay, so we have error and we will invoke an array function. We will write console.log error. So yeah, that's how we can see our error if we are getting any. So at this stage, we are going to close our connection by writing this sort of line that mongoose dot connection dot close. Okay, so let's save the file. let's save the file and run it. So to run this file, come to backend folder and just write npm start. I think we have some error. Let's say package.json. Okay, we have to write node index. Yeah, so we can see server is running at port 220 and we have some error. Yeah, catch is not a function, so I think there is some spelling mistake. Hmm, so yeah, here it's catch. Okay, now let's rerun this file. Node index.json. The server is running at 220 and I think we should get one more. Yeah, we are finally connected to our localhost 1 database and we have entries on our console. His name is localhost and the email is localhost at the rate 123 gmail.com, and we have the object id which is provided by mongoose itself. So we can see our code is working fine and we can verify that this information is saved on our database as well. So let's go to our mongoose where we have created this. So yeah, this is our local host file and we need to go to our database. Yeah, here is our localhost one. Actually, I have saved the data in localhost point one now. So move to the database part and just go to browse collection. So yeah, you can see that here we have a users section where we got this name as localhost and email as this, and you can notice that this object ID starting with 652 and ending with FD4, and this is same which we got here on our console. You can re-verify by changing the name as well. Let's write it localhost point two and change the email to localhost 678 and rerun this file. Okay, just let's control C and again write node index.js and you can see our server is running at port 220 and our database is also connected, and the second parameter is our localhost 2, our localhost point 2, and the email address is being saved on this object id 652 and ending with 94f. So go to your database and check. You can see that you can get the second parameter as well, or second user naming localhost point 2 and email address is also changed. So you can see this is how we can create or connect our API with database. And this is all about today's class. Thank you for viewing the lecture. Subscribe to remain updated. Thank you.